Welcome back to the shed, you guys, and to part two of the Renogy Core 1, interacting with the DC Home app and also the Renogy Home portal. Yes, Renogy 1 portal, sorry. Anyways, in this episode, we're going to be covering the DC Home app and how it interacts with the Renogy Core 1, and also the difference in parameters that you can look at with operating the DC Home app via Wi-Fi versus Bluetooth, okay, or Direct Connect as they call it. So thanks for tuning in. Let's get started, you guys. Okay, so this is the Renogy DC Home app on my smartphone, and it's got a few different options. You can see it has all the same things that this Renogy Core 1 does, including your Renogy controller, the smart shunt, and my inverter. You can also switch back and forth up here, and you can go to Bluetooth. Whoops, click on that. There we go. And if you go to Direct Connect, it will go over to the Bluetooth mode, and there's a different batch of data over there. We'll cover that in a moment. Right now, let's just start with the controller first. We'll go up to the Renogy 60 amp rover, and you can see that, solar volts is 3.3 volts. That's been par with what the smart shunt said. It said 3.4. Look, it's nighttime. It's just running off of street lights and outdoor lighting right now. Total the energy produced since I got this particular rover up and running. I've had a couple now. We'll go into that story another time. I produced about 40 kilowatts, 40.82. Battery charging volts, 13.1. And the battery temperature, which is just ambient temperature in the room, I've got the probe just hanging out, it's 51.8 degrees. Basically, and this one also has a solar yield, so you can come on over here. And this will kind of give you a graph. Like the yellow is showing you what it's anticipating as far as like power produced or stored energy is going to be over the next couple days. And then we can kind of look back at my past here for the month of December. We've had some pretty decent days. These are very short days. I've got a capability with my solar panels of producing 4,000 kilowatts a day. This time of year, pretty tough, actually. We just shorter days, a lot of overcast days. I think my main days are like 1.9, 1.82, and then it kind of dips back down 3.99 watt hours. Yesterday, I believe it was. Just overcast all day. It just is what it is, man. Again, that reinforces what I said earlier, wishing I would have got a different inverter set up, a charger inverter set up, so I could charge from the house without running an extension cord and AC to DC charger, which I have, and it's not a big deal, but it's nice if it just did it automatically. So if we click on back, now we've kind of gone over the rover controller. We'll take a quick look at the inverter. And right now it's pulling about 332 watts. Like I said, I'm charging up a few things here. 13.2 volts. Got all the basic options there as the Renogy Core 1 does. Now let's jump over to the smart shunt. Again, that's going to say pretty much what the Renogy Core 1 said as far as data goes. Historic data is about the same. We can look down through that and get all the same historic data. Right now it's telling us that we're pulling about a negative 122 watts. So it's, pretty accurate. And again, we have all the same settings up here as that what we had over on the smart shunt. So you can set the settings on the smart shunt either via the Renogy Core 1, or we can set it over on the DC Home app. It doesn't matter. It works either way, okay? Now, that about covers that. So let's go on over and let's click on Direct Connect. This is a Bluetooth Connect. Sometimes it takes a moment to switch over. It's not a big deal to me. Sometimes I hit refresh and it pops up. We got the controller on board and we're just kind of waiting for the inverter to pop in. There it is. It clicked on right there. A little bit different data set over here. The Smart Shunt is not too much different, and it'll give us the same kind of data, whether we're connected via Wi-Fi mesh or we're looking at a Renogy Core 1, okay? So basically, same with this. We're pulling 300, or the inverter, we're pulling 332 watts right now, 334. Output voltage is 118.9 volts. You see, we're getting a little bit different data, but it's all within par of itself. Down here on the menu, it just kind of explains what all the settings are. Now, let's click back over to here. We're going to go to the Renogy controller. Remember, we're still in the Bluetooth mode, so we're going to get some different historical graphs, where right now it's not saying much. We're going to give it a reset. So I just did a refresh. Everything popped up. A lot of this data will be the same, but where the difference is, we click up here, and we go into history. Now in settings, we can do some other stuff. We can set all the parameters for the battery that we're charging. Well, basic parameters. Maybe we should go into that. So over here, we can go, like battery type. We can go what our boost voltage is, what our float voltage is, equalization voltage, boost duration. So a lot of this can be set right here, right? So we can do a lot of this right from the phone, right from the app via Bluetooth and via internet. Well, if I remember right, the internet's not quite as comprehensive, but maybe we'll circle back to that, okay? We can also check the load. So I've got a DC out on the controller here, and I tell you what, I use it to run everything that's basically 12 volt right now. And because I'm not pulling a heavy 12 volt load, so it really doesn't matter. So let's click back on over here and let's take a look at the history. Now, this gives us a little bit different data sheet than does the Wi-Fi version of the DC Home app, okay? So a lot of the same data, but we can look at it differently. Should have a different graph in here. It takes a moment to load up. And you know what? They did an update and the graph is pretty much the same. It used to look a lot different. I like the old graph, Renogy, I'll tell you that. It basically looked like a stock market type graph, and I really like that a lot. But this is working pretty fine too. You can see all the basic data as far as like power use the same day, power generated, charge amp hours the same day, right on down the list. You can see it all. So, and you could export that data also and save it and look at it. And I don't know if you can put it in Excel or not, but heck, if you wanted to hand enter it, why not, right? So that in a nutshell is the DC app side of the components. Now, let's click that. We'll switch right back to the mesh version. So now we're back on my internet mesh. And, we can check in on the community here. We can check over here. We can kind of see, these are my stats right here, guys. I've made 10 posts. I got 25 followers. If you guys care to follow me, there's going to be a lot more of these instructional videos coming up. I promise you that, okay? Let's click on back to there. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to go over to the Renogy Core 1, or Core Portal, I believe it's called. It is the onerenogy.com, and it's the Renogy 1 portal, and that's on the computer. So hang tight. We'll dial that right in. Okay, so there is a review, in short, kind of a short summary, I believe, of the DC Home app and what it looks like in the web mode versus the direct connect mode, which is Bluetooth, and some of the different parameters. Now, at one point or another, when I first got this hooked up, the DC Home app, when I was running it in Bluetooth mode, I got a different style of graph that was there before I connected the Renogy Core 1. They've changed that with an update, it looks like. I don't think it's a big deal. I did like the old graph a little bit better for some reasons. There was two things to look at, but still very comprehensive. Be sure to check out parts 1 and 3, you guys, to go over the other two components with this Renogy communication system. And thanks again for checking in. See you in the next video.